Hello, everyone. I'm really sorry we started for a 10-minute late because we had this unexpected situation. Actually, we have one Zoom account for two communities, our community with Geek Reader and the TRC Club. And they have actually planned this webinar with Tamara for 1 hour and a half, but it ran a bit longer. So that's why we had to start for a little bit late. Okay. I guess you're all doing good. Happy Thursday, by the way. And today we have here our guest. He's actually a Geek Reader client. His name is Mykhailo. There is a little introduction about him. He's the founder of an agency called Scalable. And actually, our guest, he's been working with machine learning long before it became a thing. And now today he runs this agency that helps businesses make more money with AI. And a few facts about our today's dearest guest. At 15 years old, he made more in a month than his parents' salary, which is really great. Big kudos. Grew up playing competitive chess. He has rating 2400 on chess.com. Unfortunately, I don't play chess, but I'm sure this is a really solid one. And now he's building this business, a lean 10% unicorn-style business. And today we'll be talking about how this 3-person team reaches and make 200K a year, and how they ship projects like 3x faster with AI, the exact tools they use like Cursor, Cloud Code, Codex, and etc. AI myths versus reality, including AI generates code, and what AI can and cannot replace in development, examples of companies built by very small teams right now, and of course, by our tradition, we'll have a Q&A session. Now, I'd like to give the floor to you, please.
Thank you very much. It's an astonishing intro. Hello, everyone. Hello, people. Hello, AI note takers. Let me share my screen and we'll start with it. So I guess you're seeing it now, and without further ado, let's maybe start. So this is the presentation your employees wouldn't want you to see, hindsight. And I'll tell you why. Because today I'll try to explain you how you can run your business leaner, how you can do everything cheaper, faster, more up to speed with the current innovations in AI, how they can help you with your particular business. But before we go into that, some stuff about me. I've started in SoftServe. This is a Ukrainian outsourcing company, and I've been playing all like developer. Then I moved into product company, which is called Just Answer, and most of my career I worked there in product company, which probably made a huge impact on me because my mindset is a lot more product-like. I do believe that solutions and software is scaling much faster than outsourcing people to other agencies. That's why a lot of stuff today is going to be influenced by that. I've founded my agency a few years ago, and here it says I have 2300 rating on chess.com, but I've been improving lately. So yeah, I'm trying to grow that as well. If you want to, you can send me a match request. Or in case if you're in Lisbon, we can actually play offline or just meet for a coffee. So what do we do as Dusty Labs, as current agency? We started as a machine learning agency. Back in the days, it meant a lot of classification models, a lot of recommender systems, but also we've built a lip syncing model. The result of this model you see on the screen. The idea was plain simple. You get video of a person or a photo of a person, and then a set of audio. And this audio helps in driving the lips of that avatar. And before Sora, trust me, before Sora, it was pretty crazy to do. It was a big breakthrough. But then a few years later, OpenAI released Sora, and right now it doesn't seem that cool. But back in the day, it required us to train our own model on 1.5 terabyte of YouTube data. Besides that, we also do chatbots and voice bots. I mean, everybody in AI is probably doing this right now. If someone's telling you they're working on AI, there's a very high chance that they're creating chatbots and voice bots, because that's the most natural interface for AI these days. And we do a lot of automation. Mainly, our idea is we can build the automation in a way that runs by itself. Because we have a very small team, we cannot afford, to look into pipelines every time something happens. So pipelines have to be with very good user experience. User experience preferably drives the users to how to solve the problems themselves. In particular, this is the dashboard we've built for a customer support company. And ideally, when they come to this dashboard, they see already if there is any data quality problem here on the screen, like how many tickets they've had in a particular period of the day, yada, yada. Basically, they have a self-driving mechanism that they can drive themselves, but also we are at their support sometimes when the things are critical with shit hits the fan. That's when we come to their aid. And as many agencies these days, we do full stack simply because you cannot just ship AI without a good user experience. Everybody wants a model of some user experience, a design, a website of some sort that wraps the AI. In particular, on your screen, you're seeing one of our latest projects where we have built a chatbot for trip planning. Essentially, we built an agent that called various APIs. That agent was capable to find a ticket, find a place to stay, plan your itinerary for you or your family or your friends, etc. But we've also built the user experience for it as well. By the way, should I stop for questions, or usually questions in the end, right? All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. So what is our goal? Our goal is 10 people unicorn. It's like a big vision for Destiny Labs, and I want to share this today with you because that might be your goal as well. At least it sounds pretty cool. Why so? Why now? I'm guessing you've heard that a lot of lean small companies are achieving tremendous revenues these days. There are already 50 people unicorn, and having a lot of people in your workforce doesn't mean anymore that you're successful of some sort. Everybody's looking at your growth, but not on your growth in terms of body count. And these are the teams that exist already. Those teams already have valuation of $1 billion, which is unicorn in tech world. Most of them, at the least, like Cursor, Bolt New, Lovable. I'm sure you've heard about them. And there are not that many people there. Why so? Because A, they have a good solution, they have a product, and they've managed to do their processes in a lean way. They managed to have a small portion of people in the team, but still a very big revenue. And I'm going to show you how this works. So to us, it seems like there are 4 key steps. Maybe there's more, but to us, there are 4. So first of all, you need to automate everything you can. And then even if you cannot automate something, then you still try to automate it. Might sound silly, but these days when you have Cursor, when you have Claude Code, when you have all the AI in the world, like anytime technology, like tech stack and stuff like that, you just don't have excuse anymore to not automate things. Because let's say an hour invested in it would be a huge return for you in the future. And It also means that someone doesn't have to do a boring monkey job, and perhaps you can even not hire somebody for that job. You can just automate the process. What you should automate is the baseline is in the team is technical roles. Like most of these companies on the previous slide, the largest part of their team is technical roles, like software developers. What can be automated is, let's say, CFO, HR, management. I don't know if you heard like one of the famous interviews of Telegram founder Pavel Durov, who said that they don't have HR at all in the company, and yet they managed to keep everybody sane and not burnt out at the work. That usually works through an automated process of some sort. Your only edge in this world, in the world of AI, where a model is coming every week, like a new model is coming, a better model is coming every month, your only edge is speed. So aim to improve your throughput as much as possible, usually through automation and making everything lean, because if you have a team of 20 people, it's much faster than if you have a team of 200 people, because simply not as much of talking needed. Now, like very visual explanation why you cannot, how you can make $1 billion revenue and why that $1 billion revenue cannot come from time. So I know a lot of you people are working here in the service business, and you're basically selling human hours, so to say. So like, we can do this work for you for 100 hours and charge this rate. So even if you charge a very good rate, which is $200, which is pretty decent rate, I'm sure you're going to agree with me, it's going to take you 5 million human hours to generate $1 billion. That's a lot. Like for a team of 10, it's 240 years of work. I'm not sure if any of you would want to work for that period of time. So you cannot become a unicorn by selling it time. Instead, you should be selling value, and that value can come from whatever you're building. For example, if you do like designs, if you do software, if you say run PPC campaigns, you should automate everything you do, because next time, if you do it like second time and more, all the value coming from it can be cumulative, basically, because you don't have to do it once again from scratch manually. So automate everything. Here you can see a few slides from your favorite tool, GigRadar, which is helping us to do lead generation. And we don't have a like in-house lead gen person that does that. We do it ourselves, essentially. And that's one of the examples how investing once actually worked through time. The other example is communication on Upwork. I'm pretty sure a lot of you work on Upwork as well. And we figured out that we had to do a lot of manual technical work, like moving conversations to our CRM or marking a lead as not started, as failed lead, essentially. And we had to write follow-ups. We had to rewrite stuff because the grammar was bad, all that sort of communicational thing that you do pretty much on a daily basis, pretty sure. So we've built a Chrome extension for ourselves. This is the panel on the right side you see. What it does, it's basically part of our system right now. We don't have to do anything. Literally, when I'm coming to a chat right now, it automatically synchronizes the chat with the CRM without any click, basically. That's, by the way, one other benefit of automation, that if you automate something, you don't really forget to do it anymore, especially if you do it right, if you automate it right. When I was doing it manually, obviously I failed to submit tickets, I failed to update tickets, but now it's simply impossible because I don't have to do any effort for that. We also automated a lot of stuff in LinkedIn because we're trying to expand to LinkedIn, as I'm sure many of you are these days as well. So we've built ourselves LinkedIn Commands Ghostwriter, and actually we built ourselves a lot of analytical tools around LinkedIn. So this helps us in that other part of marketing, which agencies like ours and yours are probably doing a lot. Right? We even automated the hosting/CFO stuff, meaning I'm sure if some of you are running software companies, you know that hosting costs can creep out pretty fast, or you can think about subscriptions, for example. I'm sure many of you know that subscriptions to various instruments, they're piling up really fast. And sometimes you forget them, sometimes you don't really understand why do you keep using it. So we automated that. We used Claude just to read our hosting infrastructure on Google Cloud, and it suggested us what should be deleted, what should be downgraded, etc. And you can see this resulted in some marginal gains, but we also automated that. So now we have every month we have this review from Claude to see what else we can remove, because as an agency sometimes we just over purchase some stuff. And once again about the CFO, so this went a bit deeper for us. We've built ourselves like a actual financial advisor, which helps us with the questions you see in your screen. We connected with our accounting software, basically, and this agent, which is also built on top of Claude Code or Anthropic SDK. It's basically helping us to understand where we can remove costs, improve revenue, let's say, or do same stuff with a better cost, essentially. And so I'm sure it's something that all of you want to do. Right, let me take a break and get a sip of water. Now, this is the second part of this presentation. The idea of the first part, just to reiterate, was that you can automate a lot, and you can automate it these days with AI. It's quite obvious. But now let's talk about your expectation from AI, from the reality, a myth versus reality. So what you should know is a senior developer with AI does a lot more than junior developer with AI. As a matter of fact, junior developers even suffer from having a lot of exposure to AI coding. So if you want to keep a lean team, but the team that is still very performative, probably should look into more senior guys and give them AI subscriptions, because this way you'll have more bang for your buck. Then this is another reality. The tool I've mentioned before, Claude Code. This tool right now has millions of users. At the point when I was writing this slide, it had almost 19 million users. I'm pretty sure it's probably more by now. So the reality is such that the tool was built in 10 days with only Claude Code, and Boris Cherny, the author of it, overviewing that code. But lately it had even more growth, and the team working on it is basically saying that they only use Claude Code to build Claude Code. To me, that was a pivotal point in the sense that a tool, a software that works for 19 million people, works pretty much without any serious bugs, was written by AI with proper oversight of humans. And I think that's the new model of things. By the way, about that future, what does the future of development look like? Here's a small part of what Boris Cherny, the author of Claude Code, described about his work process. So he runs 5 Claude Codes in parallel in terminal. He builds a lot of self-resolving pipelines or reinforcement learning pipelines. For those of you who are not familiar with reinforcement learning, in machine learning, we call that, those are the algorithms where a model can do something and then get a feedback from the world, so to say. And based on the feedback, like whether it's positive or negative, it can recalibrate its own behavior. So this is basically a reinforcement learning in the essence. But in case of AI coding tools, which you would supposed to be using for automation, you can prompt them or design a prompt in a way that a tool should be calling, the AI agent should be calling tools that give them feedback. For example, if you're building a user interface, you can provide it access to your browser. So AI agent not only writes the code, but also looks into how the UI looks like. And based on that, it rewrites the code, essentially as humans do. So what does the future of development look like? It's basically building these pipelines, self-reinforcement pipelines, that not only create code, but they also analyze how the code works and refine the code accordingly. Probably one of the most common myths this day is that the AI generates shit code that needs debugging, and debugging takes more time than writing a code. So yes, if you're just trying to like one-shot it, if you're not understanding what the code does at all, then probably that's true. But if you take some effort into that, it's going to be a lot better. Here are my tips how to avoid shitty code with AI. So first of all, always write tests. Doesn't make sense not to write them given that AI can also write them. It's really cheap. You just need to review that, and you need to write as many as possible, as long as it makes sense. Always do code reviews. I think for us developers, now when AI pretty much automates a lot of our job, code reviews is like the last, but all very meaningful part of our job. For example, I'm used to like do dozens of code reviews these days, simply because I understand that's the best way for me to control what the AI does. You can also use AI for code review itself, by the way. That's a good first step, but please do human code reviews as well. CI/CD, for those of you who don't know what's that, basically you have a very automated release pipeline. And this way you can basically plug the result of the release back into the bot, and AI agent can do like improvements if release fails, stuff like that. Plugins and MCP. MCP is really cool stuff. If you have never used it, it's basically a way for your agent, whether it's ChatGPT or Anthropic or Claude, whatever. Through MCP, it can access pretty much anything like Stripe, ClickUp, any CRM, pretty much anything that has API has MCP these days, which basically means your agent can do things instead of just answering you. It can also do things. And the last one, AI generates bad UI. That's completely wrong. Like, first of all, just use Gemini models. They're really good at UI. But also, like a couple months, Claude introduced front-end skills, and now I'm pretty sure you would not be able to distinct a UI generated with AI or not. So yeah. Here's an example. You can use Google Stitch as a sort of AI Figma. I encourage you to actually go ahead and try it after the call. It's free. You can just find the Google Stitch, and it's going to be your inspiration for user interface, if you're not a UX person, as I am in particular. In the context of our presentation today, why it makes sense, because a lot of automation we did for ourselves and for our clients in the past, it had really bad UI. As I'm sure all of you know, like all the internal tools are really sucked at UI. But now we improved a lot with these tools like Stitch, because even though we don't have in-house UX people, we can do a lot better in the sense of having like just better, more neat interface. AI and security. I know a lot of you are afraid about using AI in, let's say, production code or client's code or sensitive code. So here's what you should do about it. So first of all, for those of you who are afraid that AI will leak code to competitors, likely your competitors already are writing code with AI, so nothing new. AI will delete the client's database, yes, but junior developers can also delete client's database. And the treatment for that was long known. You should just make backups and you should limit the access to appropriate commands. So be careful about it, of course. Don't just YOLO mode the AI and hope it's gonna not crash. But that's not a point for not using AI at all. And AI will expose passwords and API keys. Once again, you can limit the access to sensitive files like .env in Python and any other typical file locations of passwords and commands. You can also limit the access to those commands. So for example, let's say AI can only read stuff but never change. And of course, rotate keys. One thing we've learned with our small team is all the stuff that in the past, like key rotation, backups, CI/CD, those things in the past were sort of nice to have, like really nice to have, especially if you're not enterprise team. But these days, with the help of all the AI agents, like you cannot just ignore that. That's really easy to configure. Stuff like that, policies like that. And you really have no reason not to do it. So I'll do all these security checks that you've probably heard on OWASP training and stuff like that. Okay, hopefully you're sold by now. What's next? What you should do in your own company? So yeah, first of all, probably you should use Claude Code. Even if you're not coding, you can use Claude Cowork. This is one of the recent tools created by Anthropic, which essentially helps automating your computer, your browser. You can tell it, to go to your LinkedIn, write a message to that person or to this list of people, and it will do it. Like, trust me, you can use it. But if you're not technical enough, you can still use Claude Code, and I can tell you why. So if you're going to connect it to your CRMs, your tools that you're using in your day-to-day life, you can just chat with it as like partner, let's say. I honestly have a chat of my own where I'm asking Claude Code how to, let's say, pitch a certain project to a client, or I'm asking it to remind me about a conversation I had 2 weeks ago, because that's what it can do. It doesn't necessarily have to code through it. It can be your digital brain that you always wanted. One example of this is we're using Claude Code as part of our onboarding. So whenever a new person comes to Dusty Labs, they can just tag Claude, ask it for something that in the past they were asking tech lead. And I'm sure many of you know how painful is that when you're hiring a couple of junior people and then your tech lead is no more a power in the company because he's just occupied with those junior people. Now they can ask Claude and Claude will answer. Documentation is also one of the examples of things that you should not avoid at this point. It's really cheap to maintain a proper documentation for a project. In Cursor, if you're also willing to purchase both Claude Code and Cursor, you can have agent review. Like Cursor can do a review for you. So you don't have to, your developers don't have to spend that much of time for code review. You can improve your communication with leads a lot. Like everything you do, all your chats, you can immediately rewrite it for better grammar. You can have your sales pipeline framework, how you're doing it, and the agent will know about that if you properly automate it. and it will refine the communication according to that. So that's a huge consistency, because in the past you had to go to your wiki page, find it somewhere, and then tell it and try to refine your message somehow according to that template. Now the agent can do that for you. It can be your lawyer. I'm sure some of you we're small companies, we cannot afford huge lawyers reviewing our documents every time. While I'll still encourage you to read the documents, read everything you're signing, AI can be a good red flag highlighter for you. Like anything that would be suspicious to it is usually a very good indication that it should be suspicious for you as well. And just for you to understand, because some of these slides, they seem like distance, and maybe some of you will ask, how exactly should I automate that? So if, let's say, we're talking about this, and you have your Claude Cowork or Claude Code, you can just put a document there and ask it to review the document, and maybe go in a couple different places, like other documents or your company policy, and refer to that. And this is going to be your automation. It's as easy as that. It's basically prompting in the end. So it doesn't have to be that technically complicated. Tools, really quickly. So Cursor, that's basically what we're paying for right now. 200 per month per person. We're paying for all the AI that our developers are using, because it's much more natural. Like, people are usually not willing to invest into their own tools if they need to. And we see a return. Claude Code, once again, $200 per person, both like max subscriptions, and honestly, we're maxing it out pretty often. So it's worth it. You can experiment yourself. They have different pricing layers, but for us, we just maxed out both subscriptions, and we're trying to automate as much as possible. Claude Chrome extension, it's part of the Claude Cowork stuff I mentioned earlier. What it does, it's basically an extension in your browser, and you can go there and ask it to do something. It opens up tabs, Chrome tabs, and literally does the actions. So like writing something, clicking something, creating formulas, etc. So anything you can do manually, it can do as well. It's a little bit slow, so try to think about pipelines that don't require speed, can be done on the background. But yeah, you can try and use it. Not a banana. For us, once again, as we're not very UX friendly, for us, it was a way to just make everything look better. For example, in our site, we just recently used it for case studies. In the past, like, it was usually like something done in MS Paint, but now we can do properly well-looking case studies with Nano Banana with just a bit of prompting. So definitely use it. MCPs, as I mentioned, a lot of them. Like, I can do a separate presentation about MCP for sure. Meaning that there are dozens, hundreds of useful MCPs these days, like Superbase on the screen, which is a database MCP, and Playwright, it's automation for browser. But there are a lot of them. Like, anything you do, pretty much, if you have a CRM, unfortunately, Upwork doesn't have an MCP. Hopefully, GeekRadar will have MCP at some point. I don't know. Maybe they won't. Right, yeah. Turns out it's Q&A. So, yeah, please let me know if you have any questions.
Wow, thank you very much, Mykhailo. That was absolute gold, and thank you very much for this great presentation. Since we're living in this age of AI, I'm pretty sure that everything related to AI will remain valuable. And when I hear a team of 3, I automatically assume that the founder is also the marketing manager, the product, the engineer, the salesperson. Everything.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now we have one question here. Okay, Hassan, you can ask your questions, and then we'll go to the chat.
All right. Thank you so much. It was a really insightful session.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed that. So I have a couple of questions. I run a software services agency, and we have around 10 people. So we normally do, as you mentioned, on either on retainer basis or on hourly basis. So my question to you is, if you are automating a lot of things, then I think a better model would be to sell on fixed cost, right? But if you are selling on fixed cost, how you create a stability, just like we have a stability with retainer models. So I'm trying to understand the business model you
Mm-hmm.
guys are. Doing.
Yeah, but
So
okay.
sorry. I think I have one or two more questions, but you can answer and then I'll ask.
Actually, let's probably go with all your questions. I'm gonna make myself a notes, and then I'll try to answer all those questions.
All right. Okay. So the first one was regarding the business model and a
Mm-hmm.
sustainable model. One. Number two is we are also using Claude Code, Cursor, and a lot of the things. So the second question was more related to the tools. So for example, we have these tools, but if you talk about infrastructure and AWS, what are the tools you suggest for that? Because that is very sensitive, So if an application is deployed in production and you want to change something, that has to be, very carefully done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, two and three, what do you think about LangChain and LangGraph models or no code or low code tools for automation? Are you suggesting only using Cloud Code or Cowork, or you have a mix of no code, low code tools and like LangChain or LangGraph tools for the automation?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your questions. I think I've made myself some notes, so I'm gonna try to answer those. First of all, yeah, that's a really good indication. Like you've noticed that pretty well. We do sell mostly on fixed price. So most of our projects are about making an estimate to a client and then delivering it according to that estimate. And from business model perspective, it usually works because if, let's say, we do some components of a solution and we retain it, and usually we try to do that according to a contract. So like we cannot own the algorithm that we've built to a client, but we've, let's say, during the build process, we've built evaluation reports, which is very common for AI these days. When you're creating a chatbot, you're creating also a mechanism that we call evaluation harness, and this helps us to evaluate how well the agent responds. And then we're building tools around that. And those tools can be reused in other projects. So like we're not giving away everything to client, we're giving only that chatbot. So because we're building those tools, we can reuse them across projects. And at some point, any agency basically hits a point when you have like new projects are somewhat similar to your past projects. And this is where the whole value comes from, essentially. If you have tools to make the second iteration of a similar projects faster, you get your value. If the same third iteration, fourth iteration, so on. So basically, our value comes from automating a lot of building pieces for projects we do, meaning that, let's say, the fixed cost of a project for a client, it stays the same, or we can do a little discount if we want to have a better relationship with the client, but essentially it stays the same, or it's up to us to play that value. And we gain more from just not having to do the same stuff over and over again. Right, now, hopefully that answered your first question. The second question was about using tools for AWS and cloud systems in general. So first of all, even if you're using AI with deployment for deployment, you can still do it pretty carefully. For example, you don't have to like run Claude Code in YOLO mode or in accept anything mode. You can ask it to generate commands and then approve. You can have allow list, like white list of commands that it can do, and that white list can be only read, never create, never delete, something like that. This is one of the ways. But frankly, like what are those really bad things that AI can do if, let's say, you have backups, if you have meaningful way to revert system? Because in 2026, I'm sure the standard is infrastructure as code. So anything you deploy, you have a pipeline of some sort, you have a configuration. And then even if AI messes up something really badly, you just revert to the previous commit and redeploy. So that's that. As long as, like, AI cannot completely delete your repository, you're safe. So that's, I would say, the last thing you should check about. The last question about LangGraph, LangChain, no code. I'll actually still start with no code. I'm kind of a pessimist on no code stuff. Because I don't see how it fits generally. Maybe someone can convince me wrong in this case, but the reason for that is no code has this abstraction of user interface, which in the past it was very convenient because you can do something fast. You can just drag and drop, click, and it works. Now you can pretty much do the same in Claude Code, just writes things and it works. Usually, most of the cases. But the benefit of using AI in code is you have the code. You see how it works, you understand how it works, you can do a really small, tiny changes, improvements, while in no-code tools, you're often stuck with a, let's say, certain provider like Anytan or Make.com. And you also, sometimes you cannot do stuff because the provider decided not to expose that field, or that field is only for premium users or stuff like that. So honestly, we're not using no-code tools at all right now. We've been using a lot Diffie back in the days. There was a good agentic sort of no-code tool for agents, but now it doesn't make any more sense. LangGraph, LangChain, like, they had also their good times. Right now, we're really bullish on Anthropic SDK, the SDK that was used for Claude Code, essentially. It's easy to use. You can plug other models. You can plug MCPs really fast. And frankly, the agent world changed a lot over the last year, because a year ago when we were building agents, it was actually looking like graph. So LangGraph made sense. Now it's more about adding a lot of tools to your agents, and an agent can code that, can use that pretty well. So it's not a graph anymore. It's just an agent with a lot of tools. So that's why I think LangGraph and LangChain are also not on the list anymore. Cool. I think we can move to other questions. So.
All right. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much. The next question is from Serge. You mostly gave examples with Claude Code. Did you use Cursor? Can you compare them? It would be interesting to hear your personal opinion regarding Claude Code versus Cursor.
Cool question. Actually, like, if that presentation was like 3 months ago, I would probably promote Cursor mostly, because we've been using that. Mostly because it's an IDE. They had a lot of cool features. But at some point, we figured that there was, like, you can find that in the internet. I'm going to say numbers from my head. But essentially, for $200 paid to Cursor, you get $350 worth of tokens, while in Claude Code, you get $1,200 worth of tokens. So roughly 4 times more tokens. As simple as that. And that breaks everything else. Of course, like, Cursor has, or at least Cursor had a big advantage of being like a UI and having this feature of browser they had when they actually shipped it. That was a groundbreaking thing, because all the UI job, all the front-end job was pretty much enhanced by it drastically. because you can literally pick an element. I think I actually might have here on the slides, maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, like this. This is the browser tool, and you can basically click anything here, and it will go as part of the prompt. That was a cool feature. But now Claude Code has Chrome extension, which I also mentioned, and it breaks it tremendously. So we're still paying for cursor mostly because we're used to, some of the people are used to it. I would say we probably should stop paying for it in close proximity. But we also want to be exposed to both tools just to be, in the trend, understand what are the pros and cons. But honestly, right now, mostly we're using Claude Code.
Oh, thank you. Do you have any follow-up questions, Serge?
Thank you very much. I'm good. Just about the maximum subscription, it's about the volume that you need, right? So you need to write lots of code, and that's why you use the highest subscription. Or what is the reason why you choose the highest level of subscription?
Basically lots of code, but not only code. So as I've said, I'm trying to build a lot in my life with Claude Code right now, I would dare to say so. So financial stuff, let's say communication, outreach, marketing, it's writing my LinkedIn posts sometimes, I'm going to be honest. It's not for example, for techies here, for those people who are working in software companies, I'm sure many of you know that it's very good for you to share your what you're doing in your life, what problems you're solving. So imagine you can tell to Claude Code, go read my GitHub or GitHub of my organization, check what we did, remove everything PII, remove everything sensitive, and just tell a story about that, create a post on LinkedIn for me, and it does it. And then you just refine it and you put it online.
Yeah, very interesting approach. So am I right that you are using Claude Code to write posts?
For example, not only, yeah. For example,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not a copywriter. I'm a software engineer. I'm not a copywriter for sure. And it does a really good job. For even more, you can set up a Chrome extension. You can share a few links of authors you like yourself, someone who you enjoy reading. It will go there. It will research those posts and will try to mimic that style for you with your post. And even as a last step, you can ask it to actually submit that post on your LinkedIn. So it will open up your LinkedIn, click on the create post. It will add that text there, literally. You will have to do a little bit of formatting maybe. And if you're not completely lazy, you'll rewrite a few things. But in the end of the day, it's something I was lazy to do the content marketing for a while, but now there's also no reason for that.
Thank you. Interesting. Actually, I'm using OpenAI for helping writing my posts for LinkedIn. So I actually always do a review and an assistant who does a review. But yeah, it helps dramatically and it improves quality. It helps to do lots of research, combine find necessary information, and then based on this information, we make a quality post. Really.
Absolutely. Everybody
to use Claude Code for to post about the recent project. It's really cool idea. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah, you're welcome.
Right. Thank you very much. From a Tinder, which CRM do you suggest for Upwork?
Good question. We're using ClickUp just because at some point we started using it. Generally, there's a new wave of CRM coming. If you're following the stock market recently, I'm sure you saw that things like HubSpot fell drastically simply because those are old CRMs and they are not very open to integration. By the way, regarding the future of software, I think the best software programs in the future would be the ones that are very open to coding, to integration with other softwares. There is a CRM called, I think, Atio or something like that, which I have not used. I'm looking into it simply because it's very easy to use with all the coding tools. It has a lot of automation, a lot of integration from scratch. So if you're like ground zero, if you're not using any CRM at all, maybe look into that. But generally, if you have a CRM, and if it doesn't have API or they ask you to pay for API, run as fast as you can because this thing is going to die down really soon. Nobody wants to use something that hides your data and doesn't allow you to integrate it really easily.
Great. Thank you very much. From Fala's next question, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. What's your advice for junior software developers?
Tough spot, guys. I mean, definitely try to increase your agency. This is a term, maybe like not like create an agency. There's a term in English of being agentic, being a person that's responsible for something, that can do something from scratch till the end, like own something, really own something. Be able to be jack of all trades. So you honestly can be a like software developer and UX designer these days. You should learn about UX principles, how to do everything in one click, how to do everything really, really easy for user, how to communicate. Unfortunately, it's not software, it's not just coding anymore. And it never would be anymore, probably. So you have to learn a lot of different skills. By the way, the fact that you're here in this presentation and you're learning from people running businesses, it's very good for you. Usually, like for junior developers, if somebody is here, junior developer, it's really good for you because essentially what you need to be a businessman. And you're going to be selling your own skills. But in the end of the day, that's what you need to learn to do.
Perfectly said. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Serge?
I agree with what Mykhailo said, and I just want to add a couple of things that for junior developers, try to understand systems. And when you understand systems and processes, you will be able to give right instructions to the code. Without understanding the system is not possible.
Totally agree.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the last question so far from Michael. Great presentation, Mykhailo. Yeah, totally agree. What will be your advice for marketing agencies with respect to trading hours for money based on your slide on unicorns?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also a good question. So I'm not really deep into marketing myself, but generally I'm going to try to give you advice based on my understanding of what you typically do. So definitely try to learn some coding, like even with tools like Claude, Lovable and stuff. Just try to code with prompts. Ideally, if you can just learn to understand what this code does, because if it's going to be a black box to you, it's going to be really hard for you to support it. But if you can actually code stuff, that's a really big bonus for you and your company. Once again, automate everything you do, like Google Analytics or PostHawk that we're using. They have MCP. Like you can connect them with your Claude Code. Once again, everything in my life is connected to Claude Code. And you can ask it to provide you reports. You can ask it to devise a strategy. There is actually, like Claude Code has skills. A skill essentially is a prompt of things, how it should do it. There is a repository in GitHub, which is called Marketing Skills. It has more than 3,000 stars last time I checked. And it's literally marketing guy from some great companies. He shared his experience in form of skills. So now your agent can basically do a go-to-market strategy based on that. So, for example, you can understand how and where you can scrape your leads. You can understand how you can manage all the stuff, how well you're communicating, what are your stats. You should learn about data, of course. Like you should learn how to analyze data, sure. But once again, this can help. AI can help. Even honestly, lately I've built myself a sales trainer, sales coach, like an agent that basically talks to me, and it gives me quizzes of what I should say if the lead says this. And then so far I'm failing drastically in that trainer, but it gives me definitely some learning perspective. So that's also some of the ideas.
Thank you very much. And 2 questions just popped up, so I'm gonna read them one by one, and then you can answer them all. From Hassan, what are some lead generation channels you use apart from Upwork? And the second question is from Atinder. Please suggest tool for social media content like video generation. Which one do you guys use for your own agency?
Yeah, by the way, thank you everyone for questions. I really like questions. Like questions are my favorite part of presentation usually. I don't like blabbering about the slides. So about the lead generation channels, LinkedIn for sure, but also lately we've been investing a lot in what we called trigger-based sales, essentially. The idea is you're looking for your ICP, where your ICP live. Let's say you're doing marketing for Shopify agencies, Shopify shops. You can scrape those shops with Claude Code. You can check what they're updating. Maybe they're setting up Klaviyo or something like some other tools, some other frameworks that Shopify is usually attached to. And if they start using those tools, that's high indication that they may be interested in some new services, let's say email marketing or stuff like that. So we actually try and track about 10,000 of leads at the same time, or potential leads, and we track what they change on their site. Maybe they open some new positions, maybe they added some technology, some pixels to their website, and it means that maybe it's a good time for us to approach them and suggest our service for them. So bottom line is anything can be your lead generation channel if you're creative enough.
So how do you track them? Like 10,000 is a large number.
Scraping, usual scraping. So for example, Shopify shops, I will not give you that much away, but if you just go into ideally Anthropic, because ChatGPT will tell you you cannot do that according to their terms of services. Anthropic is a bit more relaxed on that behalf. So if you go there, Anthropic will tell you how exactly you can scrape that much data. And then you basically do like Google does. You just look in their HTML, see what changes there. If something changes, you analyze what changed, and there you go. But anyway, I want to be mindful of the time. I don't know. Do we have still time for answering those questions?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Cool. Then about the social media content like video generation, that's a good thing. I've never tried using it, honestly. We don't do much video marketing these days. But I saw one tool that I want to try myself, and I think you should try it. It's called Remotion. Like that, and just try and see. I saw some really good examples lately, but I don't know, cannot specifically recommend because I haven't tried. I think I answered that one. What's the quickest and best way to learn Claude Code in your opinion? Manuals and courses, just try and practice. Absolutely, just try and practice everything in our life, I think, can be learned by just trying and practicing as fast as possible. And also, I think repetitive learning and quizzes are really good. So try build yourself some sort of quiz with Claude Code that forces you to remind something. For example, if you're learning Claude Code or its features, you can ask Claude Code to create a simple HTML page that would have a questionnaire, like a test, like in university or school, and you will have to remind yourself. Simply because, for example, for me, this is the way my brain works. Because if when I'm remembering something, it connects the information much better in my head. Yeah.
Right. Great. Perfectly said. Thank you very much. Do you guys have any other questions? Maybe you have any follow-up questions, Serge?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you,
was definitely a great presentation and solid. And thank you very much, Mykhailo, for taking the time coming to our event, having this very engaging Q&A session. I highly appreciate that, and I'm sure our attendees also appreciate it.
One more thing.
Yeah.
I just realized one terrible thing. I forgot to show the last slide. Here's where you can find me. If you have any other questions, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find Irina, who's my partner and CEO. And you can find us on desktolabs.com. But if you have any questions, feel free to approach me there. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. And feel free to drop those links to your social media into the chat as well. Yeah, then again, thank you very much. And I'll see you in a week. Have a good one ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.